Saludos, programas, and welcome to Los Lobos de Lucha. We are here. It is 2025, and we are going to be talking about the CMLL action that has happened so far in this short month of January. With me is El Jefe. Buenas, El Jefe. ¿Cómo está?
Está bien, ¿y tú?
Muy bien. Unfortunately, Papa Oso, he could not make it tonight, but we wish him all the wellness that can be. And also, I want to, give a shout out and secure supportive thoughts to our friends in the California region that is currently being affected by the fires that are spreading. We hope that you are all safe. We hope that if by some turn of luck that you are joining us, that we give you at least a little bit of respite from all the stuff that is going on, and this goes with anyone. So let's have some fun. Let's talk about some lucha. How you doing, Mikey?
I am doing really, really good this evening. It's been a hot minute since we've been doing anything CMLL related, but I'm excited because we get a double dose this week.
Yeah. CMLL has been very busy over the holidays. This brings us to our first show, which was the New Year's Day show, Sin Salida, from Arena Mexico in Mexico City. And our first match for this show was a women's relevo australiano for one fall. It's an Amazonas match where on the technical side we had Capitana Skadi, Kira, and Princesa Suhui against the Rudas of Capitana Hera, Olympia, and Candela. So, really quick, just as a quick, primer, the Relevo Australiano rules is that either two of the team members have to be pinned, or the captain has to be pinned or submitted, I should say. So this was a very action-packed match. Anytime that you get, especially Scotty and Olympia and Hera in there, they just like go at it. This was my first time seeing Candela. Have you seen Candela before?
You know, the funny thing is, for as long as we've been covering CMLL and everything that it has, unless she is part, I don't even remember seeing her at the Sabado shows, like,
Yeah.
or in La Guadalajara either. So I think this is my first time seeing Candela here.
Yeah, it was my first time, and she was, you know, uh, she was quite the spark plug. It did seem like Hera and Olympia kind of like tossed her out to do kind of this some of the more crazier things. But your Rudas take control early, but the Technicas do kick it in, and they do get the win with Scotty getting the pin. What'd you think of the match, Mikey?
Excuse me. I'm choking. Anyways, so I really enjoyed this match. Again, it has been a couple weeks, so it's been nice to just watch CMLL without taking notes and preparing for the review for the last 2 weeks. But I have definitely missed Amazonas because I feel like we've missed a little bit of the Amazonas the last 2 weeks or so, and now
Yeah.
we're getting back into it. Of course, as we talked about before during our last review, because we have a couple of things happening. We no longer have certain people here because they are now back in the States with certain things. And
Yep.
we'll talk about it at the very end. But it's very nice to see that now we're kind of getting the Amazonas back on our screen. They are becoming a present force. And this again, this is my first introduction to Candela, but everybody else, I was like, all right, I know who's in this match, so I know what I'm about to get, and that is exactly what I got. I
Yeah.
enjoyed this. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Scotty and Kita are work so well together. Like there was a spot where Scotty took Hera and put her in a fireman's carry, and then Kita hopped up on the top turnbuckle, jumps, lands on Hera, jumps off Hera, and then does a flying scissor to Olympia. And it was just seamless and gorgeous, and it was great. So yeah, this was a really fun opener. It was great to see the Amazonas at it, and your Technicas get the win on this one. Which brings us to a big match. Didn't realize this was happening until I watched it. This was for the Campeonato Mundial de Microestrellas, the CMLL. So this was for the World Championship for the Microstars of CMLL. And it was Gemalito versus my pick for my Microestrella of the year 2024, Tengu. And not to jump the shark, but Tengu is your new Microestrella champion through some shenanigans. But yeah, he gets the win. He pins Kemalito, El Jefe. What'd you think?
I am so happy we got a micro estrella match, but for the fact, and I'm like you, I didn't think that we were getting a championship match until I watched it on my screen. So I was
Right?
like, I forgot this championship was vacant. Hold up. Like, let's watch. Of course, shenanigans were about. I definitely agree with you, but I'm just like, hey, I'm not mad that Dingu won. But, you know, this was so much fun. This is the best way. Watching the micro estrellas go flying around the ring. I say this with the utmost respect, so I don't want anyone to think otherwise, but I could not stop laughing in a good way of them just throwing themselves around like little missiles around
Oh
the
yeah.
ring.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah,
It's so
definitely.
good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the shenanigans that I want to point out is the ref Tigre Infante. He had a really slow count, like a weird pace to his count. Um,
Yeah.
which
And it wasn't just in this match too. Later, like I was like, something seems off with a couple of the refs. I don't know if maybe because listen, it's cold in Mexico right now. I should know. I have spent a few winters down there, but I'm like, something seems off. This is weird, but we'll see. Thankfully, it got a little bit better as we went
Yep.
on with the evening, but I definitely felt it during this match.
Yep. And then to get the win, Tengu ends up power bombing Kemalito. But he power bombs in a way where he's close to the ropes and is able to hold on to the rope without the ref seeing, and the ref counts the 1, 2, 3 pin. So that was the question mark on Tengu's win. But I'm excited to see him defend his title. So that was our second match. Our third match is a relevo australiano. On the technical side, we had your Capitan Atlantis, Flip Gordon, and Titan. Been missing Titan on my television screen against your Rudo team of Capitan Nebula Roja, Angel de Oro, your Chavez brothers, Hermanos Chavez, and Stuka Jr., who has the prettiest plancha, I feel, in CMLL. Every time he does it, it's just amazing. Anyway, so like I said, this was a relevo australiano, best 2 out of 3 falls. We for in the first fall, we had Titan and Flip got pinned, so your Rudos do take the first fall. The second fall was the Technicos, where Titan, Angel de Oro, and Stuka Jr. Got pinned, and then in your third fall, we had Atlantis pinning the Capitan of the Rudos, Nebula Roja, for a technical victory. What did you think, Mikey? Atlantis on our screen, Titan on our screen, Flip, your pick for 2024, which I will allow. I'll let you catch us up on that since you weren't here for that.
I know. I feel so robbed, anyways. No, so I think so. Again, we've only been covering CMLL since June, and our
Yeah.
very first event was Fantastica Mania, and we've gotten to experience quite a lot in the short amount of time. From that to the men's Grand Prix to the Amazona Grand Prix, we got to do the 91st Anniversario show and have a live watch along with that, which was nuts.
Yep.
And we've had a couple of tournaments happening, championships, like it crossover on the international stages this past weekend too, which was fantastic. I will say, first of all, Titan was a very busy man the last week and a half or so, because not
Yes,
only
sir.
was he in Sin Salida, then he went and flew straight to Japan for Wrestle Dynasty. But to talk about my man, Flip Gordon, first of all, I always get hyped. It's like with his theme song, it's like flip, flip. Like in the best way possible. It is the most Western Americanized like theme song that any of the CMLL men has, but I'm okay with it. And of course, the millennial nostalgia of the Kim Possible like beep at the very beginning of his song is great.
Alice says that as well
It's
every time
Kim
that beep,
Possible.
beep,
You
beep, beep, beep,
cannot
beep comes
tell
on.
me otherwise. as soon as I hear that, I break out into the Kim Possible theme song, but we'll get copyrighted. But the reason I love Flip so much is that, again, appearance wise, he looks like the most Americanized gringo you can ever be. And especially in the camo that he wrestles in, being very like soldier-esque in his character. But then all that goes out the window when this man gets into the ring, because even though he is not a traditional luchador in terms of wearing the mask and everything. This man moves like one
Yeah.
and then some. So, of course, he's amazing. But then when you pair him with the likes of Titan and Atlantis here, I'm just like, oh, this is a match made in heaven. I love the Rudo team, but like, y'all about to get whooped.
Yeah, the poor Manuel Chavez kind of got, and Stuka Jr. kind of, they ate it, but it was
That was
entertaining.
a good back and
They had
forth.
some good they had some good series. I'll tell you what, Niebla Roja, when he comes out with in his when he first comes out in his He-Man gear, it brings a smile on my face every time. Every
Listen,
time.
wrestling and nostalgia go hand to hand, and
Right?
wrestlers get bonus points when they incorporate anime, video games, or pop culture
Yep.
into their wrestling gear. So, bonus points there.
Yep. Yep. So your technicals get the win on this one, and this brings us to our semifinal main event of the night. Which oh no, we are
Oh
right
my.
there. Uh, so we had Místico, your Capitan for the Technicals, Místico, Máscara Dorada, and Capitan Suicida versus El Valiente, Hechicero, who is the Capitan for the Rudos, and Soberano Jr. And yes, before we go any further, can we talk about this, please? Soberano Jr.
I'm sorry,
and the
what?
outfit he wore.
I'm like,
Fantastic. The man is a fashion icon.
listen, every time we see him, my personal favorite just because of how crazy it was, and then he pulled off the pants to reveal even more pants with his Pennywise gear that he wore. Like he pulled off pants to just wear pants. It was great. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Adolfo. So we here at BC WrestlePod, we love to give you all the play-by-play with the wrestling. That is what we're primarily here for. But come on, we are literally called the Biconics Wrestling Podcast. And there are a few of us here in this group of 10 that span the spectrum of the, queer spectrum. So as soon as it was on, like nothing around me, everything just faded to black. And I was just like, my inner thoughts was, pick your jaw up, Mikey. You're watching wrestling. You're supposed to be focused. After I composed myself, I was like, okay, back to it. But then I remelted into my chair. I'm sorry. Listen, the good thing about being part of BC WrestlePod, especially for me, it's like Burger King. I can have it anyway. So
Right. All I'm saying is I would buy Soberano Jr. many drinks. So
call me.
So talking about lucha libre, all right. So this was a relevo australiano, best 2 out of 3. In our first fall, the Rudos really put it to the Technicos, and Soberano Jr., Mr. Hottie McHot Pants, who loses the pants to show more pants, ends up pinning Místico in our second fall. The Technicos started to bring it on. And we had Soberano Jr. and Valiente getting pinned. And then finally, the third pinfall, we had Místico submitting Hechicero with that beautiful, beautiful Mística. Match-wise, Jefe, dígame.
First and foremost, I want to shout out Capitan Suicida, who is mostly, at least for my watching experience, been mostly on the Saturday shows. But now he finds himself in the semi-main event on Viernes Espectacular. And not only that, but teaming up with some really two heavy hitters, if I might add,
Yeah.
with Máscara Dorada and, of course, our lovable poster boys, Mr. Místico.
Yep.
But then when looking across the way, when I saw Hechicero and Soberano Jr. in the same team, I was like, oh, this is about to be on and poppin'. And on
Yeah.
and poppin' is exactly what it is. Look,
Yep.
I just need Hechicero and Místico to fight forever. But honestly, I want to see. I feel like 2025, I'm calling it now, and we're going to revisit this episode. I think we're going to see a lot of Soberano Jr. being pushed to the top of the card. in
Yep.
2025. I am ready for this man to take over. I was kind of sad that he and Echiseto lost because they're like my favorite heels right now. But hot
Yeah,
damn,
and
they brought it.
yeah, and Echiseto and Soberano Jr. had a busy week because then they went and wrestled Dynasty too.
Hell yeah,
You
they
know,
did.
I agree. I think this year is the year that Soberano Jr. Gets a push. Maybe we'll see him in more cross cross brand shows. Maybe we'll see him on the AEW. He's so good, not only with his lucha, but also working the crowd over and just connecting with the crowd. I feel he works really really well. And we can't forget to shout out Valiente, and Valiente showing his dark side, rudo side.
So
He
good.
seems, yeah, he seems like a lot more mad. Like when he was Técnico, he seemed like he was a little bit more chill, but now that he's a rudo, he like comes out and he's like very angry.
Listen, El Buntador, you know what and this is not just hyperbole. This is backed by research, but you always have to worry about the chilled out people. It's because they are so zen and so centered and at peace with themselves because they know when things get on and popping, they know that once they go red, it's the quiet people you always gotta look out for because we
Fair,
know how dangerous
fair,
we quiet folks know how dangerous we are when you get a scene red. And boy,
very
howdy,
fair.
did El Valiente has a lot of unbridled rage when in this rudo form that he has now.
Yeah, and last thing, we still have to revisit Hechicero and Valiente because when we left them in 2025, they still had beef. So
For reals.
just saying, just saying. So we're just gonna look at that hotness just really quick again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, moving on. That brings us to our main event, the sin salida, which in English means no exit. So this is a stage. This is a cage match, and your wrestlers in this cage match are the oh my god, help me, Jefe, the Pequeño Estrellas.
Yes,
Yeah,
so this Sin Salida cage match had the Pequeño Estrella, so there's a
that's
lot of them in this match.
yep, yep. So we had Ultimo Dragoncito, Shockercito, Galaxy, Angelito, Pequeño Magia, Caligua, Perotito, or Pequeño Perot, Pequeño Olímpico, Pequeño Violencia, Pequeño Polvora, Acero, and Full Metal. So this is the rules for the Sin Salida match. So all these individuals, they start in the cage in the ring. They have 2 minutes that they cannot leave the ring. So they are all fighting for 2 minutes. When the bell rings after 2 minutes, they have to try to get out. And the last two remaining in the ring, they face off. And if they have a mask, then if they lose their mask. And if they have hair and they don't wear a mask, then they have to lose their hair. So this is there are very heavy stakes in this because as we have covered before, for a luchador to lose their mask, or for a luchador to lose their hair, that is a very very heavy thing. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go down the line and let you know who in what order everyone escaped the ring. So the first one to escape was Pequeño Violencia. Then Ultimo Dragoncito escaped. Um, uh, Rostro de Acero then escaped. Chacrocito then escaped. Pequeño Perocito, he escaped. Pequeño Olímpico escaped. Angelito then escaped. Galaxy then escaped. And the way that they escape, I forgot to say this. The way that they escape is they have to climb to the top and over and make it to the bottom. So then Galaxy escaped. Pequeño Polvoro escaped. Pequeño Magia, and that left Full Metal versus a Caligua. So we had a Mascara, and we had a Mascara versus Mascara at the very end. And in the final, Full Metal ends up pinning Caligua, and Caligua ended up losing his mask. What'd you think, Mikey?
This match was a beautiful car crash. Like,
Yes.
I'm like, as soon as I heard steel cage, I was just like, oh, okay, this is already is the best match. Don't care, fight me. It's great. There's only been one instance in wrestling history. Well, actually, a couple, like 2 or 3 instances where cage matches actually been doo doo, and this was not one of them.
No.
I love that there is no door like in the American steel cage matches. Y'all have to climb the top of this and actually make your way down on the outside.
Yep.
And meanwhile, as people are climbing over, you got people jumping off ropes, jumping off the cage itself, like multiple people trying to attack and brutalize their opponents. So this was a lot of fun. And then when we got to the final mask versus match, it was just nonstop action from there. And, you know, it's crazy. I'm just like, this is like, what is this? The second or the third unmasking that we witnessed since watching CMLL?
The second. Yeah. Yeah.
I was
and
like, damn.
Yeah. And it was still,
It's still
it was
crazy.
heavy.
Yeah.
You know,
emotions are
Caligua,
real.
he was crying. They did the thing where they announced his full name and how many years he wrestled. You know, Full Metal, even though he is a rudo, he like kind of like Hechicero when he got the Mask of Euphoria, that rudo side like disappeared, and he gave the flowers to Caligua, showing how serious this is for luchadors. So yeah, but it was I felt like it was a great way to start 2025 with this, and yeah, it was chaos in its most beautiful form, so that was the Sin Salida New Year's Day show for CMLL. And really quick, hang on, I'm doing things because we're streaming and I'm being a streamer. Hang on. Wait for it.
Should we play the catchy, like, 10-second break while you get this ready?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, if you like what we're doing, you want to see more of us, you can find us on the interwebs. We are on all the social medias. We are on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Twitch, Blue Sky. You can find us at BC Wrestling Pod. We do have merch, bcwrestling.com. And we have a Patreon, BC Wrestling Pod Patreon. So, feel free to look us up in any one of those, and we will see you on the interwebs. Which now brings us to our January 3rd, Viernes Espectacular, which was a very packed show. And if I didn't think my mind was tapioca after watching Stardom, Wrestle Kingdom, and Wrestle Dynasty, when I got done with this, I was just like, wow, okay. Because there was a lot of great wrestling that happened, and we started the night off with Akuma and Dark Magic versus Rey Cometa and Espiritu Negro. This was a relevo sencillo, which is one pinfall. However, unlike the American wrestling, you do have to pin both team members in order to win. And in this, we did have the Technicals coming out with the win in this. Jefe, dígame, how'd you feel?
Listen, I'm always going to no shade to Akuma and Black Magic. I love them too. But anytime I see Rey Cometa and Espiritu Negro, I'm like, this is 2/3 of Los Dulces Atrapasueños.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
I'm always gonna be rooting for them because they are the Native Americans with our not confirmed gay wrestler in Dulce, but I
Mhm.
love Dulce. This was just fun, and I'm so happy that our Technicals got the victory here. I've missed them on my screen. That is the best way to describe this match. I've missed all these folks so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Akuma. I was surprised to see Akuma and Dark Magic working together. I was surprised that Dark Magic didn't come out with one of his teammates, and Raider or um, um, who's their third? Dark Magic, Raider, and who? Help me out.
I think it's Espanto Junior. Yeah, Espanto
Yes,
Junior.
Espanto Junior and Espanto Junior.
Because every time
Um,
he's with them, I'm like pants.
Great, right? But Akuma and Dark Magic really worked well together. Akuma is just a wrecking ball, and he looks really good doing it. You know what I mean? But Espiritu Negro and Rey Cometa, they did their technical thing. They flew, and they did end up with the win. Very fun start to the night. Then it got even better because we had more high flying going on, where we had your Technicos Neon, Futuro, and Max Star versus Magnus, Magia Blanca, and Rugido. The so the dust um,
So while El Butador gets this together, I'll give my quick thoughts before he gets the play
please
by
do.
play.
Yes.
When El Butador said that the night got crazier, like this is not an exaggeration. Like these six men we know on an individual basis, and we've seen them many a times over the last couple of months or so in variety of different forms. I lost my absolute mind during this match. I'm like, there are bodies flying everywhere.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So Magnus, Magia Blanca, and Rugido are all part of the Depredadores, which is Volador Junior's stable, and that is a stable of high flying rudos. So this the y'all these six just went at it. As I said, or if I didn't say, this was a Relevo Australiano, best 2 out of 3 pinfalls. The Rudos came out with the first win. The Technicos came out with the second win. And then for the third pinfall, we did see the Technicos get the third pinfall, and the Technicos do end up winning. The third pinfall, I will say, if each Technico seemed to have gotten their own little like spotlight, you know, where Futuro, the first thing he did was he cleared house. And then Max Star came in, he put on a clinic, and then Neon, he came in and he ends up pinning Ruido for the win. So it was really good. But we are going to see the Depredadores coming back in a little bit, because in a little bit. But first, we had our match Relampago for the night. So the match Relampago is a 10-minute long match. This one pitted Zandakan Jr. versus Hijo del Vilano Tercero. These two are both Rudos, and they actually have a very deep history against each other. And I'm not talking just like each other, but like their families have histories of fighting each other. So, it's, and you could tell, they came out, it was like a grudge match. They were laying some hits. I was surprised that the match went 9 minutes, because you do have Zandekan Jr. Pinning Hijo del Vilano Tercero at 9 minutes 22 seconds, utilizing a tiger driver, beautiful tiger driver. Heve, what'd you think?
My heart was like, honestly. So the funny thing is we've kind of seen these two build up to this in a very weird way, because even though they have like not very, unlike in the traditional sense when you build up feuds for matches to happen, like this is like the best way to describe it is your on again off again relationship with your significant other.
Yes.
Like these two, when they get together, it's chaotic. They fight. Then they go their separate ways a little bit, and they're cool. And then they get in the ring together and they fight, and they just keep doing it. And this was no exception. I will say, for me personally, Zandakin Jr. has been noticeably getting more time in the ring, and his style
Yes.
of wrestling is so interesting to me. But there's not enough words to kind of accurately describe why I feel that is. It's just uncanny. And I think that's the best word I can use. It's a very uncanny style of wrestling, which suits his character that he has, which is the wrestling pirate. So it's very unorthodox with the flourish and the fleurs, if you will. Then I'm gonna be honest. When I was first introduced to Hijo de Villano the third, I was like, "Oh, this is a comedic character. Like, look at this face, man. Like, I can't take this man seriously." But you know what? Over the last couple of months, he has grown on me, and I've really, really enjoyed his in-ring stuff. But yeah, again, with Relampaco matches, it is in and out. You got 10 minutes, so it's do or die time, and both of the it was funny because we still got our luchador like flippy dippy stuff, as the kids say.
Yep,
But
as the kids say.
But then I'm like, is that some strong style I see in my wrestling in this match?
Yeah, right.
And again, I brought this up during the Stardom and the Wrestle Kingdom review too, that there's such an interesting dichotomy that lucha libre and strong style in Japanese wrestling. There's a lot of similarities and things that they share, and for some reason, high flying action and hard hitting just works very well. And I was like, okay, I feel like this is what made this match even cooler for me, is the fact to see those kind of slight differences in the styles kind of meld together in a 10-minute match. This was fantastic.
Yep. Also, shout out Zandakan Jr. New intro music.
Yes, I was about to say.
That, as the kids say, slapped. His new intro song. That was really cool.
So good.
I dug it. So this brought us to our semi-main event. Por el Campeonato Mundial de Peso Medio. That is Templario's championship, the middleweight championship, if you will, of CMLL. He faced off against Volador Jr., the head of the Depredadores, the Aire stable. And this turned out to be not so much a championship match, but just a match to try to destroy Templario. I am going to note, before you even say anything, Templario was wearing his United Empire colors.
Yes,
so
because he is now an official member.
Yep, that's right. That's right. But yeah, they went at it, but very, at least new to me, because we are new to CMLL. Volador Jr. and the brings out the Depredadores, and totally shenaniganizes, to try to pin Templario. Templario does retain his championship and gets gets the win, but that's because the entire Depredador stable comes running out and jumps Templario in the middle of the ring. And the ref is just like,
this was wild. I was like, what is happening?
Now, Jefe, I have to ask you, because this was brought up by the announcement team, that they made it a point to point out that Templario is part of the United Kingdom now. Do you think that we are going to see this contained in CMLL, or do you think we are going to see this splash over maybe into some New Japan shows? And if so, which shows?
Okay, so how much time do you have? No, just kidding. No, so okay, so I want to give a little bit of context with this. So this is where my wrestling nerddom comes into play a little bit. So I apologize. My wrestling nerd is showing. Cover up. No, just kidding. So over the last couple of years, I want to say over the last 4 or 5 years, or at least, okay, let me start at the beginning. New Japan and my co-host Adolfo, who's a lovely person, by the way, y'all should too meet up. New Japan has been very self-contained in the sense that they have been very to themselves for so long. And even though they did have some crossovers, like TNA has had like the likes of Kurt Angle and Kevin Nash, and like that relationship happened. And then of course, we don't talk about the downfall that was the original TNA, because that was rough. But after that, New Japan became so self-contained because they didn't want, because relationships were burned from various companies for a variety of reasons. And so New Japan decided to take their ball and go home with it, so to speak. So they've been so self-contained. And then over the last 2 or 3 years, they kind of slowly started opening back up. We've had the last 3 years, we've had Forbidden Door with AEW New Japan. We see CMLL stars and New Japan stars crossing over all the time, in not just Wrestle Kingdom stuff, but we saw in the 2 iterations of Fantastica Mania that we saw in Mexico and in the United States, we saw these folks cross over too. But also on top of that too, you have top New Japan stars representing the company in smaller companies. Like literally at the beginning of 2024, we had Josh Alexander of TNA on a TNA episode going up against Will Ospreay for their second match, which was bananas. Okada teamed up with the Motor City Machine Guns in TNA too. So I think under this new leadership, especially now that, the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi is now president of New Japan too, I think they are beginning to open themselves back up to work with these other companies, especially since a lot of their top talent has gone to these other companies. So, I mean, Kenny has been gone for a little bit. He started AEW 5 years ago, but the likes of, Juice Robinson, Jay White, Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada, like these guys have now gone to the American companies, are in AEW. And so now New Japan is in a very weird transitional period. So because of the change of leadership and, being more open to work with this, I think now they're more okay with recruiting talent from an international basis that's no longer just straight Japanese style of wrestlers or just Japanese wrestlers. I mean, we look at the factions. TMDK is Zack Sabre Jr., who is Gaijin. He is, a British boy. And the other guys are United States based or British based. And of course, United Empire is the same way. We have Filipinos, we have Japanese wrestlers, we have American wrestlers. And now Templario is representing Mexico in all of this. So in my long-winded whole thing, the short consensus into this, I think New Japan is going to, especially in the relationship with CMLL and AEW and Ring of Honor and Stardom, I think we're going to see these 5 companies move players around the whole entire year. And we kind of saw it this past weekend with Wrestle Dynasty. So I think Templario is a forever member until told otherwise. So I think the CMLL and New Japan are going to continue to want to represent these talents in every capacity. So shout out to CMLL letting Templario wear his United Empire colors and represent United Empire as their newest member. So I'm excited to see what it's going to happen. And it kind of goes to this match too, because Templario was not only fighting, to protect his CMLL champion, but now he is a faction member of United Empire, which dare I say is one of the bigger factions in New Japan too. So
Yep.
It's fantastic. But I'm just wishing right now, because right now Templario is by himself. He doesn't really have any homies to help him fight off Volador Jr. and the entirety of Los Depredadores. CMLL, New Japan, hear me out. Give me Volador Jr. and Los Depredadores versus Templario and a couple of members of United Empire. Give that to me right now.
That would be cool.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
That would definitely be cool. So yes, Volador Jr. does lose due to disqualification. However, at the end he made it very clear that it wasn't about winning the championship; it's about destroying the man. So I'm very excited to see this story pan out. This brings us to our main event, where on the technical side we see Legendario with Atlantis Jr. and your Capitan Mistico versus Crixus and the Guerrero brothers, Ultimo Guerrero and Gran Guerrero.
This match slapped.
Yes, it did. This match was very good. So this was El Relevo Australiano, best 2 out of 3 pinfall. For the first pinfall, the Rudos just like we're using the technicals like rag dolls. It was ridiculous. But the Rudos do end up with the win. The first fall, the second fall, the technicals end up with the win, and then with the last with the final one, the third pinfall, the technicals end up with the third pinfall and end up winning the match. But these, anytime we see Gran Guerrero and Ultimo Guerrero on our screen, we know people are going to get beat down.
I feel like that's an understatement.
I mean, like, I feel like we could go up a level. Not only are they going to get beat up, they're about to kick some ass, and that is that's the next level for us. They're gonna beat up on some people, but they're gonna whoop some ass. Yeah. And also with Crixus, don't let they are big, right? But don't let their size fool you. They are very agile, and can pull off some crazy moves, like that move where Gran Guerrero takes a running start and then Ultimo launches him over him and he splashes into his opponent. He did that to Místico. He did that to Atlantis. No, he did that to Legendario. And he gets some height. It's crazy because he not only does he clear Ultimo Guerrero, but he clears him like really well, and then Crixus, he really knows how to work off the top turnbuckles and top ropes, so that was it was great. It was really, really good. Also the thing about Ultimo Guerrero and Gran Guerrero is they are just like, I've said it before, and I will say it, and I will die on this hill. They are the most rudo in the game. They know all the tricks. They know how to get to the audience. They know how to get to the technicals. Because for that whole first pinfall and then halfway through the second pinfall, they just had the technicals completely separated. You know what I mean? And just like pummeling them individually. So This was a great main event. I really enjoyed it. Hefe, you got anything to add?
Oh my gosh, this was my favorite match of Viernes Espectacular. I mean, I enjoy every single match we get every Friday, but I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Anytime I see, as we have dubbed the elder statesman in the match, I was like, these kids are about to get their asses kicked.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
I mean, Gran Guerrero and Ultimo Guerrero are like my favorites, but again, Místico and Atlantis Jr. are a good team. Like I love seeing Legendario in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Crixus, I am loving him being paired up more with the Guerreros. This was just spectacular. This was fun, and this is a
Yeah.
great main event.
Yep. Yep. And that brings us to the end of the January 3rd Viernes Espectacular. This upcoming Friday, the January 9th, 10th, January 10th, I believe. Yep, it says it right there on my screen. We have a really fun looking card coming up for Viernes Espectacular. I can't wait to see it. In our main event, we are going to be getting Blue Panther versus Hechicero. Very interesting, very interesting. And that's not the only CMLL action that's going on this weekend, because and this will seg to Mikey's presentation. We have Kings of the Coliseum this weekend,
Yes.
MLW's event. So go ahead, Mikey. I will pull this down. Oh, do we want to do the music? Let's do the music. Hang on. We're going to do the music. Hang on. Hang on.
I got you.
Everyone. Oh, you did the thing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go
Listen,
ahead. Tell them what we're doing. I'm gonna sit here and pout.
no, don't pout. I'm so sorry. No. See, now El Puntador is mad at me, you guys. So I don't know if I can do this now. I'm just, it's been a great show. I appreciate everyone coming around. Thank you so much.
So Kings of the Coliseum.
I'm just kidding. Okay, here we go. So Kings of the Coliseum is MLW's next show, which is happening this Saturday, January 11th.
Yep.
Myself and Adolfo, again, my partner who's been with me the last 2 nights, El Buntador, if you have time, y'all should pop by and come hang out with us. But
Don't know
this
who
is the
that is.
next show for MLW, which is happening this Saturday on January 11th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And yes, this is free on YouTube to watch. The show is going to be aired live for free. And so
Mhm.
the reason we're talking about this MLW show is because we do have a few CMLL talents that are going to be a part of it.
Yep.
So first and foremost, whether or not it's going to be on Kings of the Coliseum or the TV taping that's going to come out later, we do know, especially from Lucha Apocolito that happened a couple months ago, that Barbaro Cavenario will be challenging Místico for the MLW middleweight championship. So whether that's going to be on the actual Kings of Coliseum show or to be taped later, that is still CMLL related, and we're excited. That match is going to slap. But a match that is also going to slap in the same boat, Amazona's representation here, because Persephone will be wrestling Alejandra Quintanilla. Don't know if there's any relation to Selena, but anyways, I mean, they are in Dallas, so who knows? But Persephone will be having a match at the taping. Again, don't know if it's going to be on Kings of Coliseum or for tapings later. But what I do know is for sure CMLL action on the actual show. Oop, wrong thing. Here we go. Went too far. There we go.
There it is.
I am so excited about this match. So literally, this is a generational fight because we have the Atlantis with the extra S's and the Z's. So we have Atlantis Senior and Atlantis Junior, father and son, teaming up to take on, the Panther dynasty of Blue Panther and Dark Panther. I am like really excited about this match, and I don't know why. I just know it's gonna slap because the elder statesmen are about to go odd and popping. And if it was anything like Lucha Apocolito, when we also saw Atlantis Senior throw down, I am so excited.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dark Panther is great. I'm excited to see him square off against Atlantis.
For reals. I am so excited. And that is what's going to be going down at Kings of Coliseum this weekend as it pertains to CMLL related stuff.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. By the way, really quick, Persephone, just because you weren't here, Jefe, Persephone, she is our reina de nuestros corazones for 2024. Yes. Persephone.
I watched the show and I was like, if nobody picks Persephone, everyone. I'm gonna be so upset.
That's right. So anyway, yes. But that does it. That's our show for tonight. So like Mikey said, please join us. So tomorrow night, Mikey and Papa also will be hopefully will be going over Wrestle Dynasty, the New Japan show that happened this weekend. Just a small little show, nothing big.
Hey, you are getting me regardless, so it's either going to be a duo or a solo, but I will be here because we had CMLL representation in Dynasty too.
Yeah, right. And then we have our on Saturday or Friday is the WWE review.
So Saturday we have our MLW watch along, so I'm excited about that for Kings of Coliseum. And then Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern is our Dual Dynasty review. So we are reviewing this past Monday's episode of Monday Night Raw and this upcoming Friday's SmackDown episode, which is we got a lot to talk about. So this is the episode you want to tune in because we are going to be talking about the Netflix premiere episode of Monday Night Raw and the second 3-hour SmackDown of 2025, especially all the things that went down last week. We have a new women's champion. It is Tiffy time. How is Tiffany Stratton going to address her cash in after pinning Nia Jax to get the championship? Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano have ran away with the tag titles once again. And with the impending call-ups of NXT and the switch around of different, stars coming through, what is going to go down? Y'all got to check out that Dual Dynasty review because it's going to be myself and Minnie and maybe the Professor if he is back in time. And we are being joined by friends of the channel of the Nick and Wrestling Hour podcast. Nick is going to be in the building and he will be there with us this Sunday. I am so excited to have him.
All right. So those are the events coming up for the rest of our week. Thank you for joining us here at Los Lobos de Lucha Libre. And please remember that I am Biconic. El Jefe is Biconic. You're Biconic. We're all Biconic. We all deserve to finish our story. So until next time, hablamos luego. Bye. Ciao.
Me tiene loco en la cabeza cuando me tocas. Siento que todo está bien, pero en verdad yo no sé si tú